A woman's mother lies dying from cancer. The doctors have given up. Out of desperation, she prays to someone, to something that many fear. La Santa Muerte. Her mother recovers overnight, but months later, her son dies mysteriously. Who is Santa Muerte? A miracle worker? A punisher? A misunderstood force of nature? Stay with me to learn more about her. Santa Muerte is not a saint. She is not a ghost. She is not a shadow of another religion. She is la Niña Blanca, la Flaca, la Santísima, a goddess, a force, a divine being who has walked beside humanity for centuries. She is death incarnate, not as an end, but as a gatekeeper, a protector, a sacred guide. In the sacred traditions of Mesoamerica, death was never feared, it was honored. The Aztecs, the Mayans, they knew of death and its important role in the circle of life. Mictlantecuhtli. Santa Muerte arises from that ancestral knowledge. Her roots stretch back through time to the underworld deities of ancient cultures, carrying within her wisdom the endings and beginnings. But unlike gods who demand perfection, Santa Muerte welcomes all. She judges no one. Her embrace is universal. To her devotees, she is the defender of the forgotten, the avenger of the wronged, the guardian of the dying, the blessing of the living. Santa Muerte, or Saint Death, is venerated by millions in Mexico, in the US, and beyond. She appears as a cloaked skeleton holding a scythe, scales, or a glove. As a divine presence, Santa Muerte manifests in many forms, each expressing a sacred aspect of her energy. In the world of modern brujeria, or witchcraft, and devotional magic, Santa Muerte is divine intelligence made manifest. She is not worshipped in churches. She does not demand titles or hierarchy. She appears in humble home altars, in grand street shrines, in deep ritual spaces of power. And her devotees offer her candles, flowers, bread, drinks like tequila, tobacco, incense, prayers, sacred pacts and promises. And she is especially fond of apples. But above all, devotees offer her truth. Santa Muerte responds only to sincerity, not to wealth, not to status, just the realness of your soul. Santa Muerte does not belong to institutions, nor can they appropriate her. She is not filtered through doctrine. She cannot be tamed by temples. She walks with prisoners and priests, with healers and hustlers. She is revered by those whom the world forgets, and she chooses no favorites. In a world of injustice, Santa Muerte is perfect balance. In a world of uncertainty, she is certain. And in a world of fear, she offers peace, not as escape, but as the truth. Now, when I began this video, we shared the story of a woman who prayed to Santa Muerte to give her mother health. After her mother's stage 4 pancreatic cancer diagnosis, this woman's world fell apart. Let us call her Eliza. Eliza was a single mother with 2 children, and she worked all day to be able to provide for her family, including her mother and her 2 kids. Her mother took care of the kids while she worked multiple jobs all 7 days of the week, from cleaning houses to doing dishes at restaurants to working at a fast food counter. She did it all if it meant providing for her family. But one day, her mother started feeling pain in her stomach, heart-wrenching pain. Her mother was dying. The doctors had spoken softly, as if afraid their worlds would arrive too quickly. "We're sorry. It's pancreatic cancer. It's terminal. Nothing could be done. Not surgery, not chemo, not even prayers. At least not the kind that Eliza had grown up with." She was not a woman of faith, not anymore. Life had taught her that prayers often go unanswered, and that gods often turn their faces away from the poor, from the unprotected. But then, one night, one of her neighbors came to her door, an older woman with a quiet voice and an unusual necklace around her neck. At the end of the chain hung a tiny skeletal figure cloaked in white, holding a scythe. "Ask La Niña Blanca. She listens, but if you make a promise, make sure to keep it." The old woman taught Eliza how to pray to La Santa Muerte, how to ask for her favor. That night, Eliza lit a candle. She didn't have an altar, so she used a kitchen towel, a glass of water, a crust of bread. She placed a tiny image of La Santa Muerte at the center and knelt before her. Her hands trembled, her voice broke. "If you spare my mother, I will honor you. I will build you an altar. I will give you flowers, offerings, everything you deserve. I will wear the necklace every day, the necklace that the woman gave me. Please, don't take my mother. Don't take her yet." And she cried until dawn. The candle burned low. The room was quiet, but something had changed. She described it later as a stillness with weight, like the air was no longer empty, like someone else was in the room. The next morning, her mother opened her eyes. There was no more pain. She asked for food. She smiled. She laughed. She went to the market to buy groceries and prepare lunch. It was unbelievable. The doctors could not explain it. The tumor shrank. In a matter of days, within weeks, the scans were clear. To those of you who know about the medical field, terminal pancreatic cancer is not curable. It was a miracle by every definition. And so, Eliza celebrated. She told her family, she told her friends that her mother had literally come back from certain death. She put up her altar to La Santa Muerte, and she kept it filled with food, water, and flowers. She prayed. She wore the necklace the woman had given her. But as with everything in life, something changed. Time passed, and slowly Eliza forgot about keeping up the altar. She forgot it. The candles weren't replaced. The glass of water dried. There was no more food, no more apples. The figure and the pendant the old woman had given her were placed in a drawer, forgotten. Not out of cruelty, but of forgetfulness. Out of the way life rushes back in after the storm has passed. Until one night, her young son, only 6 at the time, came into her room crying in the middle of the night. "Mommy, the woman without a face came to see me again." Eliza panicked. She didn't know what the kid was referring to. Dismissing it as only a nightmare, she carried on. But her oldest son
died a week later at school from a fatal seizure. No illness, no warning, nothing.
At the funeral, Eliza remembered her promise. She opened the drawer when she came back home. She found the figure and she wept. She rebuilt the altar she had once bowed. She made offerings. She lit candles. She prayed not for a miracle, but for forgiveness. This is not a story of punishment, even though you may not believe it at first. It is a story of divine memory. Santa Muerte does not forget. And when you make a promise to a goddess, you are not speaking into the dark. You are entering into a sacred contract, sealed not by fear, but by truth. And this is the singular, most important point we should all remember. That we often make promises to the great powers in life that we seldom fulfill. How many times have you asked God for favors and you promise something, and when that favor is granted, you immediately break those promises? Just remember. Santa Muerte is not to be feared. She is to be respected. She gets things done in a fast manner. She delivers, and she expects of you, the devotee, to also act accordingly. Santa Muerte is not the end. She is the guide through endings. She is not the destroyer. She is the liberator. And whether you walk with wealth or wounds, lies or love, she sees only your truth. So if you ask her for a miracle, be ready to honor your word. Just like you ask a friend, and just like you promise something to a friend, you don't just ask and then disappear. Because in the realm of La Santa Muerte, every vow is sacred, every prayer is heard, and every soul matters. Until the next one, my friends, may you always fulfill your promises.